Next topic, we got layoffs. We got even more layoffs. So if you guys are not aware, Playtonic has released a statement. They just recently laid off people. This is the developer that's behind Yooka-Laylee. Which, if you don't know what Yooka-Laylee is, let me bring it up. Bro, everybody's fucking losing their jobs, bro. It's crazy. Yooka-Laylee is this video game right here. Bit of a smaller title, obviously. This is Yooka-Laylee. 8 years ago. Well, they've had, I think they have other games, but 8 years ago, 6,500 concurrent, 14 people playing right now. If you click Playtonic games, this is all of the games that they worked on. All of it has to do around Yooka-Laylee to some extent. It looks like they have a sequel, Yooka-Laylee and the Impossible. It's an interesting platformer. It's nothing too insane. Lowest recorded price is $2.99 right now. This game major flopped. This game flopped. Look at this. 5.6 years ago, they had an all-time concurrent peak of 265. Their first game, which came out before that, had an all-time peak of 6,500. So they clearly lost the majority of their player base their second time around, for whatever that reason may be. It's not pretty. Well, eventually, somehow, some way, they were being subsidized, and I can only leave you to imagine how that must have been. But again, just days after the news of layoffs, that Yooka-Laylee developer began to make rounds online, the company posted to social media confirming the cutbacks. They said, "This is one of those messages we never wanted to have to write." The statement begins, "We've all seen in recent years how the games industry has been changing, resulting in studio after studio finding themselves in situations where to continue to exist, they must make painful decisions that impact the lives of so many individual, talented developers." If they were really talented, again, I'll keep saying this for however long I have to say this. If you guys stop sniffing your own fucking farts, bro. If you are really that talented, if you are really that amazing at what you did and what you do, let's be very clear, you would have the support. You would have the support. If you don't have the support, that means you're not as talented as you think you are. And I understand the PR statements. I get it. You got to end on a positive note. I understand. But let's be fucking real, man. You guys are not as talented as you think you are. And that's the problem. There's so much narcissism that's going on in the gaming industry right now that none of you want to look at the criticism that you're getting, to take it in and reflect upon yourselves and realize that, gee, maybe you're not as good as you think you are. Maybe you're not as good as you think you are, right? Again, I don't know what killed this game. I'm not going to claim it's wokeness or anything because I have no idea. But what I will say, it's very clear that you lost most of your player base. How do you go from 6,600 concurrent 8 years ago to 200 concurrent 5 years ago? How the fuck does that happen? How does your sequel tank that hard? You clearly did something that the fans didn't like. Whatever that may be. Maybe you changed up the gameplay. Who really knows? But you did something. But in any case, it continues to say that the studio has felt the knock-on effects, and though they attempted to try to avoid layoffs, they ultimately had to make the incredibly heartbreaking decision to let some staff members go. There was no mention of how many people were let go in the round of layoffs. Of course, they're not gonna tell you. Again, it's only the major studios that are basically public companies that have shareholders and whatnot. Only they are the ones that have to usually report on how many people are getting fired, because it goes into their reports. But these smaller studios that are not publicly traded, they're usually not going to tell you how many people they fired, especially when they're trying not to let people even know about this. Let me see if I could get their full statement. Let's see, Yooka-Laylee layoff statement. Let me see if I can find it really quick, because I want to go over all of it. Here we go. Beautiful. You gotta love it. You gotta love it when a nice little quick Google search helps you avoid giving Insider Gaming even more clicks. Playtonic, a sad note from all of us at Playtonic. Let me make it bigger so you guys can read it. Here we go. This is one of those messages we never wanted to have to write. We've all seen in recent years how the games industry has been changing, resulting in studio after studio finding themselves in situations where to continue to exist, they must make painful decisions Decisions that impact the lives of so many individual talented developers. Like others, we felt the knock-on effects, and after exploring every possible avenue, we've had to make the incredibly heartbreaking decision to say goodbye to some truly brilliant members of the Playtonic team. And of course, they say the same thing every time, which is the following. This isn't a reflection of anyone's talent or dedication. The people leaving have poured so much heart. Do you... God, bro. Do these people not understand how this statement is an oxy-fucking-moron? You are saying one thing and you are doing another. Do we not realize that? I understand you want to be toxically positive. I totally get that. But do you realize that by firing someone and choosing to keep someone else instead of that person, and then you say this is not a reflection of anyone's talent or dedication, then why are you firing them? Why are you firing them? There has to be a reason why you chose to keep Emily over Samantha. Why did you fire Samantha? If it's not her talent, her dedication, or anything like that, why did you fire her? It's an oxymoron statement to say there was nothing wrong with the employee, but you chose to keep one or the other. What was the reason you kept the other one? Why did you keep the other one? Unless you're gonna admit to favoritism, do we want to go down that rabbit hole? Are we gonna admit to favoritism or something? What are we doing? Because Samantha's Puerto Rican, yeah. Seriously, Emily's got big titties. I'm okay with it, but at least let's admit it though. Samantha did nothing wrong. Probably not. So again, this is why when they say shit like this, it pisses me off because I know that you're being disingenuous. I know that there is a reason. Everybody who's ever worked in a company before or has ran their own company before knows that there's a reason why you keep one employee over the other. If you got the call that says you have to fire 5 people right now, how are you making that decision if every single one of them are as talented equally as you say they are? How are you making that decision? Are you just playing Russian roulette? Are you leaving people's jobs up to chance? Do you even want to admit to that? No, of course not. There is something wrong that person does compared to the person you wanted to keep. There's got to be, right? I feel like they did it randomly. There ain't no such thing, bro. Nobody's going to fire randomly. Nobody's going to fire randomly. They have internal ways that they track employees' performance, progress, histories, whether they've been written up or not, whatever the case may be. They have ways to track everything. So there is a reason why they keep one person over another. Exactly. I like this comment. If you're a good leader, you already have chosen your 5 people. Exactly. You will know who are the problems and who aren't. Even if it's minuscule, even if it's like, okay, Samantha, she could be a little bit hot-headed, but she does good work. Emily, perfect employee, doesn't do anything wrong. Guess who's getting fired? The hothead. You know what I mean? The hothead is going to be fired. That's just how it works. But it still means that there is something that was made to be part of that decision. They may not want to admit it, but something is there, right? So in any case, every time I see that, it makes me fucking rage out because I'm like, they're lying. The people leaving had poured so much heart, creativity, and care into everything we do. They've helped shape our studio, our games, our culture. We're incredibly proud of what we built together. This isn't simply a difficult moment. It's a period of profound change in how games are created and financed. You see that keyword? How games are created and financed. Where's my Law and Order sound? How games are financed. Interesting. Why are we bringing up how games are financed again? Could it be because you guys are struggling to find funding that you were able to easily find before? It's very interesting. I'm telling. Hey, listen, you said it. I didn't say it. You said it. I didn't say it. Right. So I find it to be very interesting that all of a sudden now they're bringing up the financing of projects that they never had trouble financing before. Keep in mind, they got two basically failures of a video game. So how the hell have they been able to survive all the way until 2025, the year where suddenly all the government money has become a lot more difficult to attain? I find it very interesting. Very interesting. So basically they ran out of money. Basically the subsidization that they were getting to stick around for all these years, it's not there anymore. That's basically what they're saying. So I'm glad that they're saying, the elephant in the room. What's up, Will the fans? How you doing, bro? So now they said our thoughts are with those we're parting ways with. Saying goodbye to such skilled, kind, and committed people is the hardest part of all. We will always consider you part of the Playtonic family, and we'll do all we can to support your next steps. If you're reading this and you're hiring, we can't speak highly enough of our departing team members. You'd be lucky to have them, but you guys are even more luckier not to have them anymore. Am I right? Am I right? they're like, oh yeah, you'll be lucky to have them, but we didn't feel lucky enough to keep them around, so you could deal with them next. Like, what the fuck? What are we doing? To our industry friends who may be facing similar challenges, we send you our solidarity, strength, and hope for a brighter path forward. To everyone affected, thank you truly. With heartfelt thanks, Playtonic team. And that's basically it, man. This was one massive statement of nothing but bullshit. This is nothing but bullshit. This is them trying to essentially say the same exact thing. I mean, guys, if you remember every single layoff statement that was made by any company last year or this year, word for word, it's the same fucking thing. I'm serious. Word for word, if you look at this paragraph that's right here, it's the same thing every single time. Actually, this paragraph here too, almost the entire thing, with the exception of the company name. It's the same thing. So, again, at this point, the money clearly ran out, and they have to face the piper just like everybody else has to now. This is why in 2025, I've been saying all of these smaller studios. I said this like in January. I was like, watch, we're going to have a whole bunch of these smaller studios with games that are not successful, that have been subsidized for 5 to 10 years. They're all going to suddenly start laying off people or shutting down. And that's exactly what's been happening. They're going to lay them off or shut them down. And what ends up happening is they do layoffs first, thinking that's going to save the company and make them more attractive to investors. But they end up shutting down anyway. How many studios have laid off people hoping to stay around only to shut down 6 months later? This is probably going to be that same situation. Playtonic is most likely going to shut down in 6 months. Most likely. If they don't have anything else lined up, they're fucked. How are they getting paid? Where is the money coming from? Who's paying their salaries? And if you're not telling me how many people you fired, what are you left with? 1 developer, 2 developer? How many? But in any case, that's it for this story. Let's move on to the next story, ladies and gentlemen.